You changed, number 2. The way you talk and act is completely different from your past. You've become a truly... and nothing compared to Rose. Actually, after I could stare on that external drive, pushed from the memories of the time we fought together. This wasn't even a quest, this was just I coincidentally decided to talk to her after the fact. I also think you have a right to see them. You know I must never forget. I wonder if there's more special things that we could have got from just coincidentally talking to people. Dangerous to go alone. Or her Pearl Harbour descent personal records. There's probably a lot of stuff I've missed that we could have got from talking to NPCs that weren't, you know, necessarily special doing anything. My name is Nemly, and I lead the android resistance. This is a record of the battles I experienced and my loss. I leave it here as a warning to myself. The machine life form attacks lands far too close for comfort. I smell an acrid odour and know that some of my hair has been singed. Anemone, retreat for now! That's an order! That's my captain, Rose. I obey her without hesitation, running from the front as soon as I take out a few nearby enemies. Feet flying beneath me, I leap into the hastily built trench where the resistance campbase gathers. How many battles is this now? Same sights and sounds, the same struggle of attrition. My resistance forces play the same war on repeat with no end in sight, and every time that the cycle of life goes, they do it all again. They're stronger every time, but they repeat the same mistakes, they repeat the same wars, they repeat everything. I don't even remember why we're fighting anymore, but I must continue. I must continue until one side or the other is dead. It looks bad, Xion! What should we do? Calm down, Lily. Find an opening somewhere. You don't search for an opening, you make one! Dahlia, wait! Grab Dahlia's arm before she can flee the trench and turn to Rose. She brought us here, after all. She must have a plan of some kind. But as the enemy horde closes in, Rose simply squints off into the distance. There's been a change in the enemy movements, she says finally. Someone just started fighting over there. That's not possible, stammers Margaret. We're all here. Margaret's right. There are only 9 of us left capable of fighting the machines. Captain Rose, Jabella, Lily, Sonia, Erica, Margaret, Xion, Dahlia. All ladies. And me, and Emily. We're all that's left of the 8th Descent Forces. Okay. Are we one of them, A2? All named people. The one that took place roughly 200 years ago. And uneasy, Sonia pulls Xion close and chews on a loose strand of her hair. That's an odd thing to do. We're about to die. Just let me nibble on your hair sexually. I don't like it, she says. What if it's some kind of machine trap? She's nibbling on her own hair nervously. She's not pulling Sonia in and nibbling on her hair. Oh yeah, we're about to die. Let me just come here. Let me nibble on your hair. No, she's nibbling on her own hair and just pulling her in for That's so awkwardly written. I wait for a while, hard pounding until I hear the enemy fire less. Okay, this looks like a chance. Let's pull back. Someone's fighting out their own enemy, cries Dahlia. We can't abandon them. Oh, so you want to risk all of our lives for some stranger? Come on. We don't even know if there's a mystery fighter is on our side or not. That's not what I said. Hit off, you two, barks Xion. Captain makes the final decision on this. After Xion speaks, all of us turn to Captain Rose. She looks in the eyes and nods. Time to speak. Jabera? The enemy is heading towards the explosives set up earlier, yes? Shibara thinks for a moment. Now that you mention it, they are. A slight smile crosses Rose's face. Yet she still seems perfectly composed. Good. But if this goes well, we might be able to take them all out. I want all of you to leave this trench and get to those explosives. We'll let the blast take out most of them, then we'll clean up the stragglers. Identifying our unknown mystery fighters can wait until we're done. No one ejects to the cabins. The moment she issues the orders, we all leap from the trench and as one re-enter Prey. When we reach the battle, we find what appears to be another set of androids dressed in strange black outfits, the SS versions of your. Before they even know what's happening, we detonate the explosives, kill the remaining machines, and turn our guns in their direction. Alright, I say to the strangers, start talking. Easy, says one of the mystery androids. We're on your side. We're new models rolled out as part of something called Project Yoha. I say, you haven't heard anything about the new models, so A2 is... I probably speak with more bluster than necessary, but I have to make sure that they're actually on our side. I don't think they're lying necessarily, but I can't read their expressions thanks to their giant goggles they wear, or just the entire black face mask. Frankly. Also, they're not wearing goggles. They now wear literal mask over their face with the scarf over their eyes. And frankly, a little caution never goes amiss in the middle. We learnt that the 4 androids we enter refer to each other as number 2, number 4, number 16, and number 21. They also aren't in a hurry to share much more. Our mission is top secret, so that's why you haven't heard us about that yet. I slowly draw my knife in an attempt to gauge their reaction. So in other words, no one will know any better if I kill you now, right? Stand down, Anemone! Softly says Rose. That was very soft. Stand down! Stand down, Anemone. No! Cries Lily. She's right! We've all seen how quickly the enemy is evolving. Who's to say these 4 aren't machines that just... They did eventually turn into human-looking machines. Lily's very smart. They weren't at this point in time, but they do eventually become humanoid-looking. My companions nod in agreement. Stone War has made us all suspicious. One of the strangers, number 16, I believe, draws a long knife from its sheath. If it's a fight you want, she says, I'm happy to give it to you. Before I can respond, Dahlia leaps in front of me with her weapon ready. This is it, we're going to fight. But just before the battle can erupt, an android called number 2 steps forwards. Wait, she says. There used to be 16 of us, so the others have died during this. We're isolated and alone out here. Reinforcements aren't coming, and that means we have to finish this mission with the soldiers we have left. We don't need more enemies. What we need is allies. Finishes the speech in a soft, as if trying and failing to hold her emotions in check. Funny how, androids aren't meant to have any emotions. I guess the early ones did, but the later ones are like, and we don't have emotions. I know that sort of. The voice of someone who still has hope, despite all the odds. Always hold on to hope, forever. Always. Never give up on it. When you give up on hope, that's when you truly fail. Okay, archives of Rose and Anemone. God damn it, there's more. It's only when you give up on hope you've truly failed. Until you give up on hope, there's always a chance just to succeed later, even if you haven't yet. According to the Aura team, there's an enemy server beneath Mount Carla. Sorry. And if we can take it out, we might finally gain some ground in this endless war. Well, I mean, we know exactly where it is. Buried underneath everything. But in order for that to happen, we need to work together. After a bit of thought, Rose decides to throw in with the no models. It's a relationship that changes as time goes on. What are you doing, Dahlia? Just showing this idiot how weak she is, replies the wounded Dahlia. Ha! Wheezes her opponent, number 16. You're obviously outmatched. 2 of them are taking turns and hitting each other. Seems friendly enough as things go. Plus, they've been doing it for so long now that both of them are out of energy. They likely can't punch through a piece of paper at this point. Plus, according to Jackass researchers, androids love combat, so they're just showing love to each other. The rest of the group stares at the combatants and tries not to grin. Dahlia and number 16 seem to butt heads over the smallest little things, because they're in love. Maybe it's because there's so much alike. Maybe they're in love. It's almost annoying how quickly Muslims learn to like one another. The rest of us converse as Dahlia and 16 continue to spar. call each other by the names that I gave us. Rose. I see. Response number 4. I thought it was strange that you didn't use code numbers. She nods as she speaks, as though this all makes perfect sense. Suddenly, Captain Rose breaks out and begins with a bright grin. You know what? She says. I think we should give all of you names as well. No. See, it would be a waste. Rose eyes. Really? Oh wait. You can name me when the mission is over, she replies as rises in. I could tell the words also served as a wish for success. Alright, responds Rose. I'll think of a name for you by then. She knows this is a fleeting promise, as much as such things are, but it doesn't matter. Already I can see us growing closer to the your. Well, my friends are growing closer to them. You're all being careless, I state, much louder than I pretend. Luckily, the others don't hear or decide to ignore it. Don't get me wrong, I'm not about to go against the captain's judgments, but that doesn't mean I'm ready to lie down and trust our new friends. Ours is a solitary experience that has long since been abandoned by the moon. No matter how they cried, mourned, or struggled, the voice of our departed comrades went unanswered because they're dead. And Yorha know this. And that's why they're creating the war just to have a purpose. How can you trust an inspired squad of new models that you get? Wrong, Anemone. I hear Lily calling to me, slightly concerned about me being apart from the rest of the. Nothing, I begin. I'm fine. Before I can complete my thought, Lily suddenly opens her mouth and emits a terrible. Lily's scream echoes throughout the entire camp. It's heartbreaking, agony. Horrible. Did 16 murder her? She's infected! Oh, Lily got infected with the virus. Screen shows. Lily's infected. We'll draw our weapons out of instinct as much as anything, pointing them at her comrades. She continued to scream and scream like the ones that were infected recently. That's how A2's immune, because she's been through this before in one of the previous cycles of existence. I see. A2 is that old that she's been through 2 cycles of existence. I understand. Don't die from the corona. We all know what's happening. We've seen it before. It's a logic virus. A machine weapon that hijacks Android systems and overwrites their data. And since there's no known cure, it's also a death sentence. I need to show her mercy. I need to set her free. My finger rests on the trigger, yet I hesitate, and before I can make that final fatal decision, I hear a voice rise up from somewhere behind me. Stop! You can't do this! You can't let your friend die! It's number 21. The girl I thought to be cool and composed beyond all measure is now pleading for me to spare Lily's life. You'd think it'd have been 16 who... Was it 16 and Lily that were getting on, or was it 16 and someone else? What do I do? What the hell do I do? Lily said you were like family to her. You can't abandon family, not before you exhaust every possibility. Can you do that? Find a way! Find some way. I'll use my power to erase the virus. That's impossible. Rose spat out what we were thinking, but before we can act, Lily starts to send nearby comrades flying with impossible strength. I've seen infected androids before. I know how much damage they can do once the virus turns off their limiters. They'll fight and fight until they're utterly destroyed. Dahlia and number 16. It was Dahlia and 16 that were together. Of course it was. So Lily and 21 and Dahlia and 16. Rushing to the fray, trying to suppress their former friend. But she swats them away like flies. How many of us have been infected now? How many friends have I been forced to put down? The heart I'm not supposed to have aches with the thoughts. It aches as I remember all the identification numbers that have been retired. When did I start giving them names? When did I decide to simply couldn't endure it any longer? Initiating reprogramming sequence. That voice, number 21. She's screaming something about reprogramming. She's gone into her brain to try and save her, but she's going to get infected herself. Don't know what to do. I'm lost. I'm gonna have to put them both down now. My vision slowly clears. I can see number 21 inputting commands into a terminal, while number 2 and number 4 hold her down. They hold her as she rises. Rose stares at me, surprised. I'm holding Lily. Did they save her? Okay, you're a attacker, you're a scanner, you're a gunner. Attacker is a G is gunner class. You haven't had a gunner class. I guess we're going to encounter some. 14th Machine War. Pearl Harbor Descent. The 14th, it's another Pearl Harbor Descent. It's the 14th cycle of the Machine War. The name of the mission entrusted to the Yorha. Was there ever such furious gunfire, such bombings that continued without pause? Our target is the machine server under Mount Kaala, and our situation is dire. We need reinforcements. Requesting deployment at once. Number 2 speaks quickly yet calmly, which is all the more remarkable considering the hostile army is closing in on our position. But the command center in orbiting satellite informs us no reinforcements are forthcoming. We are abandoned. We are alone. It's so easy to do from up there, from the satellite, from the moon. I'll do whatever is necessary, says Lily with a grim smile. Dahlia and Margaret quickly nod in agreement, as does number 16. They decided to join the rear guards, staying behind to be our shields, even though it comes at the cost of their own lives. Regardless, they all agreed without hesitation. For we in the vanguard will be joining them in death soon enough. Without another word, we turn our backs on each other and take up. We know this is the end. Dahlia and the others will buy us time to reach the gate at Kaala's peak. You changed it. It's now Katla. Katla. It was Kaala before. Now it's Kala. You've put a typo. Beyond that lies an elevator, and beyond that is the server. If we can destroy it, we'll deal a devastating blow to the machine life throughout the Pacific region. But as I notice number 21 scowling at the elevator, I start to have a bad feeling about the final stage of it. Go on. I've got this. We crowd into the elevator as she begins hacking into the terminal. She doesn't need us to tell us what's happening. It's clear that the elevator won't descend all the way to the server unless someone stays behind to control it. Enemies incoming! They're almost on us! As I speak, I suddenly find myself leaping from the elevator and taking up position of number 21's sides, almost as if my body is out of my control, instinctively defending her. Something's wrong. Something. I'll back up number 21, I cry. The rest of you take out that server. The doors close on my friends. The last thing I see is the face of my captain, Rose. She looks concerned. But then the doors shut and she is no more. That was the last time. But it's alright. I'm gonna finish it one way. The only sounds we hear are the distant explosions from the rasp of number 21's breathing. Thank you, she whispers, for staying with me. I look at her eyes and see the telltale red of the logic virus infection. I was right after all. But A2 also has it, because she dashes and has the telltale reds. I sigh softly, and as I draw my way to put her down. I've seen comrades infected before. That's why I couldn't leave her to die alone. The vaccine she gave Lily was already ineffective. The enemy has evolved. The virus has evolved. And the vaccine that you've all been taking is no longer effective, and you have to get a new vaccine. And a new one, and a new top-up, and keep going for endless boosters. They studied number 21's patterns and developed a new resistance. A new booster vaccine! No one can save her now. When the elevator reaches the server, begins number 21 weekly. Then I'll give you peace, I reply. The elevator moves ever lower, creating a countdown on number 21's life. How much time has passed? How much can possibly be left? Too long to wait, yet not long enough to regret. A massive explosion echoes in the distance. The hall slowly shakes. It's the final act of Lily and the others in the rear guards. It just overloads their own fusion reactors. The sound of our comrades' demise slowly fades from our ears. As it does, number 21 reaches up and slowly removes her goggles. I'm glad I got to meet you, she says. Her eyes are so red, but not completely. There's still a little of herself left. And while it is, don't worry, hey, I'll be with you soon. She smiles as my words reach her. As soon as the elevator touches down, I fire a bullet into number 21's brain. I watch the thing that used to be her tumble to the empty shell that she was. I stare at the gun I hold with trembling. I press it to my temple. This will end. I mean existence. It will finally be over. Unforgivable. 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 Oh, I need to, just because. Just because I can do emotes that fit it. Unforgivable. 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 Your comrades sacrifice themselves and fight to the last breath. They feel suffering, they feel sadness, they feel pain and terror. They actually do feel emotions. And yet you would surrender now? Unforgivable. The voice is a battlefield curse, telling those who survive to see their mission through no matter what. It's another me crying out. I scream at the top of my lungs and race down the hall. I'll show you. If you're going to push me, I'll show you. That's the resolve. That's true resolve. You'll only be satisfied as it ends with only ends with more killing. I leap into the fray with weapons in both hands. Here I am! Here I am! Kill me! As I scream, an explosion suddenly rises up and sweeps everything away. Soft wind. I'll fire. I'll ash. The explosion in the server room was powerful enough to take out Mount Ala itself, reducing the once proud summit to a smoking crater. The machines immediately drop to the ground and stop moving. I look out over the scorched earth. Lily, number 16. Rose, number 2. Are any of you alive? I am the... Well, A2 clearly lived. She's here now. The only one. I was alive because I had been afraid to die. I begin to giggle. A mad thing. Praised. Even to my... I'll join you soon. You promised to join us. How could I have said such a vain, laughable word? Such lies. I laugh. I stand in the smoke and in the flame, and I laugh until I think my very throat will tear itself in two. Blink. Daylight drifts through the smoke. I've been standing here all night. My laughter finally depleted. I'll force myself to my feet. I'm the coward who stayed behind, the coward who lived. Now it's my job to carry on the will of those who fought at my side. Since I can't kill myself, I'll have to fight until someone else does it for me. I'll endure every hardship. I'll kill every machine I find. This is my cross to bear. I walk slowly to the west, dragging my body along. Okay, that's a lot more of lore than I thought there would be. 16, number 21, number 4. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I'm still alive as well. I'll be rejoining you as soon as I finish something up. Oh, was that not an enemy? That was just us, A2. Okay. That was part 3, right? We've read part 1, part 2, part 3. Dispatched during the resistance to destroy the machine life form, many with server blah blah blah. See, why does it can't say them as different things? Novel. It doesn't call them what they're called in this, which is like the records part 3. Right, so there are 3 parts to that, and then weird that the novel is also the memories of the songster. Encounter, understanding, separation, right? So I think we've done all of them. We don't care about the fishing. We've got all the picture books. Okay. Weapon stories, ironically, not a lot. There's still something else to be tutorialized. There's a lot of unit data. 53% of the archive.